everyone. Welcome back to my final video, and today we are going to talk about the 7 main things that you need to do to help your back to heal itself. So the first one is body awareness, and I link it also with breath awareness, right? Because the breath is what carries the oxygen into your system. When the body is well oxygenated, it's running more optimally and it's able to heal and restore itself better. So oxygenation is an important part of both pain relief and healing. Body awareness is what we need to develop in order to be in touch with what the body needs. So we develop a lot of body awareness in my classes, and I noticed that students come to class with a variety of abilities to check in with their body awareness. Some of us are just naturally very aware. We can feel where our body is in space. We can move our attention through the body and we can sense what each part feels like. But some of us have lost that capability and need to retrain it up again in order to reconnect and be aware. And there's a lot of wisdom that the body has that can teach us things. So having that body awareness helps to tune in and tap into that wisdom. It's not woo-woo stuff. It's actually really powerful healing techniques. Okay, so then we start to move into the physical movements and things we can do, like with poses and yoga moves. Talked about core being a super important piece as it supports the low back. So that wraps around the low belly muscles. They wrap around the low back and they act as kind of like a weight belt. You ever see those weightlifters? And they have this thick sort of leather, probably belt that wraps all the way around their torso, their low belly and their low back. That wraparound weight belt helps to stabilize the low back and helps to support it. But we've got natural muscles that do that too, but just sometimes they're just a little bit weak. And we need to, when we're sort of building our core strength, we can't just jump into some really difficult core maneuver, because that can, if it's too strong, it can cause strain in our low back. What we need to do is we need to build up to it slowly. So we start with baby steps, see how that feels, and then do something a little bit harder, right? So you want to start off slow, do a very gentle core strengthening exercise, leave it for a day, wake up the next morning and see how it feels. This is a way of testing out what different poses and different exercises will feel like in your body, because often in the moment when you're doing it, you won't notice if you've overdone it. You won't notice it until the next day, and by then it's too late. But it's good to know exactly where you're at so that you can work at your own level. The other thing, as far as strength goes, is strengthening the back muscles. So the muscles in the low back and the muscles that run all the way up along each side of the spine. These are muscles that are really helpful postural muscles. So they're the ones that allow us to stand up tall and draw our shoulders onto our back and to help maintain that natural S-curve. So strengthening the back muscles is also super key and helpful in standing up straight, and also helpful in maintaining extension, which is a little bit of a back bending. So you want to also, with the back strengthening, you want to start off slow. You want to start with baby steps. You want to do a little bit first and then see how it feels. And you'll find sometimes little areas of weakness in your body that you're like, wow, like my back muscles are really need a lot of work. You find certain things more challenging, and often those are the areas that you want to work on a little bit more, like give a little bit more time to. So then the next one is simple mobility. So mobility, stretching. While we're strengthening, we also want to stretch, right? So yoga is great because it's this combination of strengthening a muscle group and then stretching it, strengthening it and stretching it. So mobility, moving the spine in all directions it's designed to move in. Forward bending, back bending, twisting to the side, side bending. The spine needs to move through these full range of movements in order for it to maintain a healthiness. So mobility is a really key part, moving the spine in all directions. It's a pretty short video today, isn't it? I think the other thing I was talking in last video about was hips. I talked about hip flexors and I talked about hamstrings. The hip flexors are at the front of the hip. Let's see if I can show you here. So right here at the front of the hip, there is muscles that attach to the leg bone, and they move through the hip, and they actually attach to the low back, or the middle thoracic spine. The front of the hip flexors, sometimes called the psoas or the iliopsoas. And this is a super important muscle in maintaining back health, because when we're sitting in a desk position all day, that muscle is contracted, it's shortened while we're in a sitting position. You could be driving in your car, sitting at your desk, and even then when you come home and you're sitting in your couch or your lazy boy watching TV, all of those positions, that muscle is in a shortened position. It's in a contracted position, which can cause shortening over time. And when you stand up and you walk, that muscle is more stretched out, especially when you swing the leg back, then it's in an extension, that hip flexor in the front of the hip. So sometimes that's why you'll see people over time, they start to kind of hunch forward. They have a hard time standing up straight. Because of that, over the years, contracting in the front of the hip and the hip flexor. And you see like little toddlers, 2 years old, say, little guys that just have learned how to walk. And you see a toddler, it walks with its chest all out and its shoulders back, and it's just completely open. It's just this young, beautiful, vibrant young body. And then slowly over time, our body starts to curl forward, right? With age, we start to curl in and forward. But we can maintain that youthful, sort of open front body, front of the hips, with just a little bit of practice and a little bit of stretching to counteract maybe the daily activities that we're doing that are causing that to shorten. Neat thing about the hip flexors as well, they're really connected to our nervous system, our fight or flight, like I talked about before, our fight or flight and our relaxation response. So when those are tight, it actually is triggering our fight or flight response, our stress response. Because those are the muscles that we use to contract when we're going to like leap out of the way of danger or run away from a predator, right? So when they're contracted, it's signaling to the whole body physiology, like there's danger, there's stress, there's a threat. So tense up, get ready to fight or flee. Makes it really hard to sleep at night. So stretching out the hip flexors actually is a really great sleep aid. So doing that before bed is a really nice way to help wind down at the end of the day and encourage an easier settling in when you go to bed. I love the feeling when I go to bed at night after doing a lot of walking and a lot of stretching, and I get into bed and my body just finds the most comfortable position. And it hasn't always been like that, for sure. There's been definitely years in my life when you get into bed and it's like you can't get comfortable. It doesn't matter, you try this, you try that. So to have that ease, to have that comfort in the body, to just like lay back and feel so relaxed and fall asleep so easily, it's such a beautiful thing. And we're designed to do that. That's a natural thing for us. But the lifestyle that we have now, busy, stressful, everything's go, go, go all the time. We're rushing around trying to do 10 things at once, and there's a lot of demands on us. And this is actually really wreaking havoc on our health, our physical health, our mental health, and our emotional health. The good news is it doesn't have to be that way. There is a lot of things we can do to counter that and to find balance and equilibrium again. And that's what I'm passionate about doing for myself. And I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure out these things too. And I'm definitely not perfect. I have a lot of work still to go. Okay, so then we're on to the hamstrings. I'm going to go right to the hamstrings because that's the back of the leg, right? So we talked about hip flexors is in the front. Hamstrings are in the back. And I talked about how when the hamstrings are tight, they pull the pelvis back, which creates undue pressure on the discs of the low back, right where they attach to the sacrum, the L5-S1. So tight hamstrings can be a culprit, and it is so common in our society. I've spent some time living in Japan, and I've spent some time living in India. And in both of those cultures, just the way of living, of sitting on the floor, sleeping on the floor, all of these things are allowing the people who live in those countries to have bodies that are actually a lot less problematic than ours in the West. So in the West, we're doing a lot of sitting. We don't squat, we don't kneel. And when we don't do those things, we lose our ability to do those things. And they're actually really key movements, healthy movements for our body and range of movements that our body needs to be able to do. If we don't do it, we lose it, right? It's a use it or lose it situation. So hamstrings in our culture, I find, are really commonly tight. It's a big complaint with my students. So stretching your hamstrings every day in some simple form, doesn't have to be complicated, is a really, really key thing that you want to do. Stretching hamstrings every day. And if you know you've got chronically tight hamstrings, do it twice a day and hold on each side for at least 2 minutes, right? So that's a pretty long time. You can set a timer, maybe put a song on that lasts for 2 minutes, and put some time and attention into it. So the problem is we just leave it, and then we get into our later years, like even our late 40s and then into our 50s. It's harder and harder to get it back the longer we've let it go. So just giving a little bit of attention is really going to reap great rewards, not just with your back health, but in your overall health and well-being and perspective and on life in general. And then we've got the outer hip. So a lot of people talk to me about sciatica. Stretching the outer hip is what you may need to be doing to help with your sciatica. Now, I showed in the 3 easy moves, I showed that 1-4 square stretch. It's a really good stretch to do for stretching that outer hip. It's a good one to do if you're a runner, a biker, hiker, doing some kind of repetitive sports like that. That outer hip stretch is really, really helpful for creating space in the outer hip so that your piriformis muscle is not impinging on the sciatic nerve. There's other causes of sciatica as well, and other poses that help with that. But that outer hip stretch is a definite key factor for maintaining low back health and keeping it pain-free. Then I just touched on relaxation. So I talked about that already in my videos, the importance of relaxation. So I just want to say that sometimes it's not, sorry, I'm distracted by the view outside because I have this beautiful sky and fall vista outside my window, and so it's nice to watch. I talked a little bit about relaxation, and what I want to say about it is lots of people think, I mean, it's a very common misconception that relaxation means that you come home from work, you crack a beer or a glass of wine, you kick back in your easy chair, put your feet up, turn the TV on, and maybe surf through your phone. And now we're relaxing, right? But I'm here to tell you that there's so much more available to you in the realm of relaxation. And this is a conscious practice, a conscious relaxation that takes you deeper into your parasympathetic nervous system activation state. It takes you deeper into your heal, rest, and repair mode than sitting on the couch and cruising through the channels will ever do. And I honestly can say that most of us don't even know what we're capable of in the realm of relaxation. Relaxation is so essential to our ability to regenerate and heal and repair. The more we can let go and the more deeply we can relax, we can just equate that with healing. Just relaxation equals healing. So if you think about all of the body's resources, right? Like the muscular energy, the breath, the heart, the blood pumping through. When all of that's in a state of rest, all of that energy turns itself towards healing and repairing. If we're in even just a slight state of arousal or alertness, it disturbs that relaxation. It disturbs that restoration phase a little bit. So this is a really, really exciting technology, actually. And one practice that's really good for this that I love is yoga nidra. Now, when you're doing, nidra means sleep, but it's not actually sleep. It's your body deeply relaxing while your mind watches with awareness. And your eyes are closed and you're just relaxing, and it's like a guided relaxation. But I really love this practice. But one thing that you have to be careful of if you're looking for Yoga Nidra recordings, say on YouTube and things like that, different instructors' voices, you want to really find a voice that you resonate with, that sounds sweet and comfortable for you, that's relaxing to you, because not everybody has the same voice. So be really selective, listen to it through, and you don't really know what you're looking for, but go with your feeling, go with your gut if you want to play with this practice a little bit. Make sure that you're laying down comfortably and you're warm and you've created a little intention for yourself. And it can be a really beautiful, beautiful practice for cultivating our natural ability to really let go and relax deeply. It's one of my favorite practices. All right, so that is all I have for you in my today's talk. Next email, I'm going to share with you exactly how you can work on those things at a deeper level if you would like to. So stay tuned and check it out. And I really want to say thank you for taking this time and investing the time in learning about your health and learning about how you can affect change for yourself in a positive way. So much health and well-being to you, and we will hopefully see you soon. Thanks, Angie. Saying goodbye. Have a good day.